Hey everybody, we're going to do a video today on fixing or seeing if I can fix this Toro Power Clear 518ZE. I've had these on and off for quite a few years with my landscape company. I like these because you can, one guy can throw them on a truck. The big gas powered ones you really can't, even if you get the smallest one, it's hard for one guy to lift it. But normally one of these stays on my plow. Both my plow trucks. So when we get to a commercial property, we can do the sidewalks, and sometimes if you're close to a fence, I buzz down through with this once to get it away from the fence, so when you're grabbing it with a blade on the truck. This is one of the older ones, and during COVID I couldn't get these. These were just, you couldn't find them anywhere. So I ended up buying an Aaron's. I can't think of the exact number, but I've had a lot of other brands in the last 25 years of business. These have been, they're the lightest to pick up and throw in a truck, and they're also the most powerful far as this will throw wet, 6 inches of wet, nasty snow. It'll throw it far enough to get it out of a sidewalk. This one here is one of my older ones, and it's been sitting aside. You can see by looking at it, it's kind of like pretty dirty. I did have it undercover. It was in one of my lean-tos, but it's one we haven't used for a few years, so I'm going to dig into it. Why we stopped using it is this. It's got very loud. I got to figure out if that can be fixed. I haven't even looked at it. But overall, this winter's been a mild winter. We've been getting some pretty crappy weather the last few weeks. Pretty good storms. But we used the Aaron's yesterday, and my wife said, "Hey, what happened to the other Toro?" It doesn't sound like we're going to get a storm for 5 or 6 days, so I'm going to try to work on it. I just thought it might make a good video. And I'm hoping I can fix it, because it's another thing. I used to buy these things for about $285. Now they're over 500 bucks. So if I can fix this for a $50, $60 repair, I'm going to try to do it. Alright, we're going to tear into it and see what this is all about. This is a shield that's on that muffler. I really don't even care if I have to, you know, do some type of aftermarket thing on the exhaust. I'm already impressed that those 4 bolts came out without breaking. I can tell you right now that's rotted. The bolts are just a blob. I think there's just 2 bolts going to that, but I'm gonna try. That's probably a 10. See if I can get that cover off enough to take a better look at it. I could probably buy a factory exhaust for this if I can get this one off, but let's see. It's been a while since I've run this, so I'm not even 100% sure how well. This has been sitting for a few years, so. I'm amazed how rusted these bolts look, and they still came out. Take the camera and show you a little closer. The bottom of that just rotted out. These sit on the back of my truck all winter long in the salt that comes off the road and onto the back of the truck. And like I said, I'm gonna guess this one's 5 or 6 years old. I'm actually pretty impressed with the way this thing just came apart. I mean, it took the stud out and the nut off the other one, but I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me at all. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if this is something that's cheap to buy. If not, I think I'm just going to cut that pipe and customize an exhaust for it. I may even have a muffler around to an old small engines thing. Originally when I got the Toros, the reason I chose the Toros is they stuck with that 2-stroke motor for a long time, and then they went 4-stroke like these. When these were two strokes. You would get 5 years out of them, and they'd normally blow their lunch. You know, they'd blow up, and I didn't care. You got enough use out of them. These 4-stroke ones, I'm actually happier with than I thought I would be. If I can nurse this one along for a couple more years until I decide the next one I buy, what I do know the Aaron's I bought, I'm not overly impressed with. It's not. I'm not going to talk. It's not as good as these Toros were. Put it that way. It's not as comfortable to use. It's a lot heavier. So we'll dig into it a little bit deeper. Let me. I'm gonna look up, see what we can find for an exhaust. All right. What I found by looking up online is that's about a $65 muffler at best. This hasn't run for a few years. I did check this morning. It's got spark, so I'm not worried about it. It might take a little bit to get it going, but if we can get it running, if I can get one more season out of it, it's awesome, which I think I can. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this flange off, and I had this muffler sitting up on the bench from something when I junk something like a Honda motor or Briggs & Stratton, no matter what it is, I end up with a lot of small engine stuff. There's a little bit of a baffle in there. I don't think it's going to take much. That's a real tiny motor. It's a 99cc motor. So I think what I'm going to do is cut that flange, see if I can get it sanded up, you know, grind it enough to get, so I can MIG weld this onto it. I want to make sure it's pointing in a direction that's not going to melt. There's really nothing here that's going to get hurt. From the smell of that fuel, I think I put this away. At the end of the season, I must have put this away, and it was still running because I put True Fuel in them when they sit all summer. I always put everything, same thing with my chainsaws in the fall, I put them away with True Fuel in them. So I'm guessing this will start. I don't really want that just sitting up straight, because then it will fill with water. And it's like I said, this sits on the back of my truck. I don't believe it. I'm going to be able to get that put back on there, because there's no hangers for it. So I need to have this come out in a direction. I'm trying to think what I might have for a little piece of pipe. I'm going to look around a little bit and see if I can't find a small, something that's already shaped. I don't think I can even buy exhaust pipe that small. We'll see if we can make something up. I called my local Napa store. They have a lot of old stock, small engine stuff, exhausts, little mufflers. I'm going to go there. He said some of them are like anywhere from $5 to $10. I'm going to go and see what they have. I just wanted to show. I wish I would have had the camera on, but this has been sitting, I'm going to guess, for 2 seasons anyways. It has been undercover. It ain't been out in the weather, even though it looks like it was in one of my lean-tos. But I choked it and primed. I hit the primer thing here probably 20 times. I could feel the moisture. You can tell when liquid starts going through it. But I just want to put stuff away with True Fuel in it. I want to show you what the difference. Oh, now I said that, it won't stop. So I checked to see if it had spark. I'm like, oh, I'll get it running anyways, but it literally started up. I thought for sure I was going to take the carburetor off and all that, but if I can get one more season out of this, I'm going to try to get a muffler that will go on that flange and get another season or 2 out of this. You never know. The flaps on this I had replaced, I think, the season that the exhaust went bad. I was thinking it was last year, but I believe it was 2 years, so this has been sitting for a couple of years. At one time I had 3 of these that were all alike because I had elderly housing and I was doing a lot of sidewalks. So a lot of times 2 of us, I'd have 2 of these on a truck. But I've had the best luck with these. I'm going to try, like I said, for what these cost new right now, I'm going to try to get this going. I really don't care what it looks like neither. I just don't, right now, to use that muffler I got, it's going to be sitting up where moisture is going to, like if it rains or snows, it's going to melt into it. I could drill a hole so it wouldn't go down in the motor, but I think I can get a muffler that will probably fit this better, that I don't have to worry about covering. I actually think what broke that muffler is it did get thin from rotting out, from the salt that gets up around it when it's on the back of a truck. But they also, I pick it up, throw it on the truck. I take it off the truck, drop it on the ground, and I think that finally cracked that flan. We'll go to Napa and see what I can come up with. Like I said, he says he's got some real old stuff he'll give me a good deal on. I don't know what that meant, but I ended up getting this for $13, this screw-in type muffler. Just a piece of piping. Once in a while I'll help somebody with a water issue or hook a pump back up. I used to winterize and start up a lot of camps. I pretty much got out of it. I have a handful of people still calling me, but I have a lot of plumbing stuff around. So I went out, looked through, found this muffler screwed right into that. And what I'm gonna do is I just took that piece and I took a Sharpie, put it on there, and I lined it up to where this should come out the back. That's an actually pretty heavy piece, so it's in good. I ground it, it's in good shape. So I'm just gonna MIG weld that on, get it to shoot out the back, and I don't believe heat will be an issue. It's pretty close to the spark plug wire, but it's near the insulated part, so I think we'll be in good shape. I'm just gonna tack it and then test fit it because I want to make sure. I'd like to have this down a little bit so water would never drain in. Put a wide weld on that because I don't want the vibration cracking it. And way that's going to hang out, it could have some pressure put on it now or then when I'm lifting it into the truck. I believe that's going to work. Another thing I'm going to do is I'd rather get it away from the spark plug. This big plastic screw, I'll never break these handlebars down again, so I'm going to take that out, put a bolt in it. I'll wire brush out a little bit. Ain't the prettiest thing in the world, but it worked. Probably gonna have to cut that off because it is rusted. I'm gonna cut that bolt off with a sawzall. I want to show, that's the stud that came out of the head, and I'm gonna chase it with a, I'm just gonna chase it out with a tap and die. It's in there in a funny angle. I think when I took it out with a little impact. But I don't want to, at this point, I don't want that stud going back in and breaking off or something. So I'm also going to put a bolt in here, which I'm just using a 5/16 bolt, because with that big plastic nut in the way, that exhaust is going to be close and melt it. And I'd rather have the exhaust away from the spark plug. Like I said, this is going to, if I get another season out of this, the cost of these new right now is just crazy. Since I bought them, they've gone up like a substantial amount. I mean, this is, I did figure out too, I bought this one on the side of the road. My wife thinks it was 6 or 7 years ago. Somebody that had moved to New England from Florida, they used this probably for about 6 weeks and ended up moving back to Florida. And it's kind of a cool story, so I'm going to say it during this video. It was a couple that was probably 63 to 65 years old. I think the wife was 63, the husband was 65, but whatever reason, they moved from Florida back to Sanford, Maine. It was early spring. They were renting this house, I believe, but they had bought this to do their hot top driveway, which was only like a 24 by 24 two-car driveway. But they were off a state road and the snowbank was big. The guy said, "Dad, this ain't for us." They had a big yard sale to sell stuff because they were only going back to Florida with a 17-foot U-Haul. And like you said, they had no use for this in Florida. They bought this back then. I think these were, I'm going to say, $300 or $400. I don't think I ever paid more than $400. Now, I looked last night. This model right here is $699. Was the best price I could find on it anywhere. But anyways, I stopped because it was up near the road with a bunch of gas cans and everything else. And I'm like, I'm not going to get. The guy wanted pretty much what it was new at the time, but you could tell it was brand new. So I got ready to leave, and he goes, "Listen," he said, "we're leaving in 2 days." He said, "Give me $250. You can take everything that was there." And there was rakes. There was a couple 5-gallon gas cans, I think a 3-gallon gas can. The 3-gallon and the 5-gallon gas cans were full of gas. So for $250, I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." So we threw it in the truck. But I think it's a cool story. New England ain't for everybody. I don't know why anybody would ever think they were gonna move from down south this way. You just never hear that happen. But I got a good deal on this one. I got it. I don't think I'd want to take the gamble of getting a $65 muffler and waiting for it to come in. These motors rev high the whole time. They're just getting labored. The best I think I've ever done is 4 or 5 years out of one of these normally. I think at one time we had like 3 or 4 of these, so they didn't just get the snot beat out of them. And I think this was probably the one that got used the least, I guess. Another thing that happens, you leave these on the back of your plow truck. Like I put my sander a little bit off center so that this will fit in one side of my truck on the flatbed. But the salt gets all over the truck, all over this. What normally happens to these is most of them blow up. When they blow up, you'll just hear a bang and it's done. Other ones I've taken 2 and made 1 out of before because the handlebars rot out. We use so much salt and calcium in New England driving. I have to go 2 towns away to do one of my commercial sites, so this will sit on my truck. This year they haven't been because we've been getting a lot of rain. Normal years, this will go on my truck and be on the back of my truck for 3 months minimum. So, and I'll wash it when I wash the truck, but it ends up rotting these tubes out. So, we're gonna just run a tap through that. And I'd like to get it so that I can put that stud in with my hands. Yeah, it goes right down with my fingers now. That's what I wanted. I'll probably put that in with the wrench, not the impact. I'll have to look around. I know I put that gasket aside to that yesterday. I'm just gonna blow that dust out. There's a lot of cobwebs and stuff. Like I said, this is set for quite a while. Beautiful. I'm actually amazed how well this came apart without breaking bolts, considering that this is in the elements all the time. It'd be nice if that starts right out. I can live with that. It was 13 bucks for that muffler. I put a bolt in here and this fitting I had in the plumbing stuff, but I mean, let's say 20 bucks in an hour of my time, hour and 15 minutes of my time. That's $700 snowblower right now. And it sounds like it, I ran it yesterday for like a half hour before I wasted my time getting this involved. Seems pretty solid. So, I'm going to change oil in it right now. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to take the Aaron's that's on my pickup and take that one, put it back in the garage, and I'll throw this one on the truck for the rest of the season. Another thing with these I found that's real good is you buy the stuff that's like a silicone spray, you spray in these, it really does make a big difference. I normally do it twice a season. They don't look pretty long anyways. But I'll probably clean this up a little bit. Like I said, change oil, spray that chute and the rubber flaps with the silicone. If I have that, I'm pretty sure I got a can of it. If I do, I'll show you what I use. This stuff's made by Aaron's Snow Jet non-stick polymer treatment, but it does make a big difference when you spray these chutes and the flaps. It's unbelievable how much better, especially if the snows are wet snow. Pretty much the finished product, and like I said, an hour of my time and 20 bucks, and I'm back in business. I'm glad I took the time to do it. I think this is actually quieter with that type of muffler on it. I think it's probably half as noisy as the muffler they put on there, that big box. I'm going to end this video here, and if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Even if you don't subscribe, try to hit the like button if you like what I do. This is just some of the stuff we do on a slow day. And thanks for watching. Appreciate it.